We are on the cusp of a major social change. Do you feel it? Even if you don't, make no mistake, change is coming, and it is going to be unforgettable. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Hart, and here on Prime Spark, where we work with and on behalf of women over 55, I want to help you find that spark that will ignite your way forward, reflect your gifts to the world, and illuminate your path through this next stage of life. Through these podcast conversations, I hope to inspire you to see how you can make a significant contribution to some of the gnarly problems that are facing us right now. Join me, and together let's discover our Prime Spark. Hi, and welcome to Prime Spark. I'm Sarah Hart, and I'm so happy you're here with us. Prime Spark is designed for women over 55 or close, with a goal to help us all live our happiest, most fulfilling, and productive lives, now and in the future. The mission of Prime Spark is to change the way our society sees and treats older women. That's a big mission, which only means we all need to be involved and we need to get going now. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Teresa Lisum, a woman whose work I greatly admire. After dedicating 25 years to nurturing the minds of countless children as a public school educator, Teresa embarked on a transformative journey into the realm of natural wellness, becoming a trusted guide in the world of essential oils. However, her true metamorphosis began when she embraced the entrepreneurial spirit as a solo-preneur. Fueled by her own struggles with self-doubt and feelings of unworthiness, she profoundly transformed after learning about and embracing her innate superpowers. She now passionately advocates for celebrating personal strengths over weaknesses. With a fervent commitment to uplifting and inspiring women, Teresa empowers them to tap into their own confidence, personal power, and resilience, and to align with their true selves. Recognizing the power of reinvention, she pursued a coaching certification, driven by her desire to help women unleash their own superpowers and embark on their own transformative journeys. Welcome, Teresa. I'm so happy you're here today.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's a privilege and honor to be here. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Let's, just in getting started, let me ask you, do you experience getting older? And if you do, what is that experience? And if you don't, why is it that you think you don't?
I'm trying to resist the feeling of getting older. And I've been trying to be proactive about it for many, many years. I've always, as an adult, been very conscientious about my own fitness and movement every day. So for 40 some years now, maybe even longer, I've been doing that on a regular basis in anticipation of this point in my life. So I like to think I'm doing a lot better than others might be at this age. But I have to admit, the last year I've been sort of feeling my energy change a little bit as opposed to what it used to be. And I'm trying to figure out why that is, or if it's just a natural, reason, a natural thing to happen at this point in my life. I don't know which it is right now, but so yes, I am feeling the effects. I would not admit that to anybody but you and your audience. So let's keep it between us.
Well, just listening to you say that, I think a lot of women I talk to resist thinking about getting older. And usually what they mean by that is losing physical, mental abilities of one kind or another.
Yes.
Actually mean getting older.
Yes.
The only alternative to getting older is to die.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us aren't quite ready to do that yet.
No.
So it's what we're looking for is an extension of health and wellness and vibrance.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think it's, let's see, man, I get on my soapbox here if I'm not careful. I think it's important to reimagine. We don't really mean we don't want to get older. I mean, our society certainly tries to convince us of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love your word reimagine. That is perfect. And that goes perfectly with your desire, your mission to change the paradigm and the stereotyping that people have around a mature woman of whatever age. Like when I was a kid, an older person was, like old and slow and maybe lacked mobility, whatever. Even as a mom with young kids, I had a different definition of what was old then than I do now. But I think it's up to us to change that for future generations. Like I'm not my grandmother. I might be in a similar age range, but I'm not anything like her in terms of physicality, energy level, the way I think about life and I approach life. So it's all up to us individually to age as gracefully as we so choose. And I applaud you for getting the message out there to reimagine what aging looks like. I remember my mother-in-law telling me, don't ever get old, because she was having an uncomfortable experience with age, because her body was not responding the way it had been in her past. And I would tell her, like, everybody has their own experience of aging. Like I was not going to take on her idea of what age was like. I was going to create that for myself. I was going to reimagine that for myself. So I like to think that's what I'm doing.
I think you are doing that, Teresa. I mean, I think it is a paradigm, and those change not overnight. I know that. But if you look around, people, not 100% by any means, because some people just lose their health earlier than others, and through their lifestyle or through accidents or through something.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, people, my friends, are nowhere near the paradigm that our society would construct for them at the age they are. And so if people just look around at who we are, they'll see it's out of date. It's anachronistic. So
you're exactly right. And I like you said, it's all different based on our lifestyle choices that we've made over the years. And even if you made some choices that were not the best, that they can still be changed now. I mean, you may, your experience might still be different from somebody else. But yes, I have lots of friends that are 60 and older, and they are vibrant. They're playing pickleball. They're traveling. I mean, there is just no excuse to use age as an excuse. No reason to use that as an excuse. I don't like when people say, well, I'm old, blah, blah, blah. And then like they're setting these limitations on themselves with that little phrase. Like, I don't even like to use that phrase. Like I want to negate what I just said, because age is just how many times we've been around the sun. That's just the number of the times we've been around the sun. But how you embrace it and how you see yourself moving forward in the future, it's all up here in our head. I'm circling my head with my hands. It's all up between our ears. And everybody approaches it differently. Depends on your belief and your backgrounds. And, if you buy into the old stereotypes.
This is probably pushing a rock uphill, but I'm trying to change the image of what the word old means. I mean, that we have very positive feelings about the word young. And we have, and generally speaking, we have negative images about the word old. But that's just assigning meaning to a word.
Yeah.
And we can change that.
Yes, we can.
We can change it without making up silly euphemisms. Anyway, I applaud what you're doing, and I think that we all made silly lifestyle choices when we were young. Who of us didn't make silly lifestyle and probably continue to do so some of the time now? But now we know a lot more than we did then, and we will know a lot more than we do now. I sometimes wonder, what am I doing now that I don't know is really harmful for me? Then in about 10 years, I'll find out. And why was I doing that?
Yeah, that's true. Because new information comes out. But I love that you said change the image of that word old, because like you said, it is a word, it's neutral. It's what meaning we put into it, whether it's a positive or a negative meaning to it. And everybody decides for themselves how they are defining and what meaning they're attaching to old. And I think it depends on the culture too. And I don't know a lot about other cultures. I just from what I've, learned and read, but it seems like there's a different status in other cultures around older, wiser people. Whereas in our country, that status might not be there. We seem to focus on youth as opposed to wise wisdom and experience.
So, Teresa, talk about what you mean by a woman's superpowers.
I don't know how much time we have.
We have enough time.
I don't want to take a ton of time on that because I can get on a roll, as you said, your soapbox. So I've always kind of dealt with, feelings of unworthiness and not being enough and not seeing or understanding my value for the world. So I always held myself back. And so once I started learning about this whole concept of strengths, which I refer to as superpowers, just because it's funner, the strengths concept, and I was able to learn what mine were, it just changed things. Things shifted in me, and I had a clear understanding. When I first heard my mentor read, and I'm using quotation marks, air quotation marks, read my strengths that he saw on paper, it was just like, who is he talking about? It was like a totally different perspective from a third person telling me about myself. And it was just beautiful and empowering. And I've seen it happen to other people, like their eyes light up. Some of them start crying because they've never heard of themselves described in that way. And they have to sit with it and embrace it. And this, many times they won't totally understand every strength, but the rest of it resonates with them. And it's just so insightful and empowering. I just want to share that feeling with other people, women in particular.
Is that from StrengthsFinder or was that something else?
It is. Now that is, so the Clifton StrengthsFinder or the Gallup StrengthsFinder, it kind of goes between the two. Yeah, that is the starting point. So once a person takes that half-hour assessment that spews out a report of all of your 34 strengths in a particular order, and that order is particular and unique to each person. There is nobody else on the planet with your lineup of strengths in your particular order. So we are all unique, infinitely unique. And just knowing that is very empowering. Like there's nobody else on the planet like me. And so I almost feel like it's my, I should use those gifts. I should use those strengths. So if I'm the only one here and I'm not using those and sharing those gifts with the world, then when I go, that's the last opportunity for anybody to get my lineup of strengths. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I didn't know if I articulated that well.
No, you articulated it very well. I think that is such a good example of how assessments like that can be really helpful so long as they're in the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I know when I first got mine, I only had the first 5, which is not enough to see a pattern. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Push it aside. Never thought much else about it. but something kept resonating with me every time I'd hear about it. And then once my mentor delved into it from his end and expanded upon it and learned these patterns and was able to figure out how to share these strengths with other people so they can use them in their own personal life, that's when I really stepped into it. And I could really, really see its value.
When did you first and how get interested in essential oils?
Oh, that was after I retired. So after I was an educator for the bulk of my adult life, got to that retirement point and like, okay, now what? I had to figure out what I'm going to do. It was a whole new phase and lots of opportunities, and I could create whatever type of life I wanted now in that new phase. So I was introduced to essential oils. There's a little story behind it. I really do think it was a divine serendipitous thing. But when I decided to step into it and just try it out, I'm going to try out using this essential oils as a business because there was that opportunity. And I'll give it 4 months and see what happens. Well, it's like 12, 13, 14 years later, and I'm still involved in it in some way. I love them. They're all over my desk. I love talking about them with people, but that was my first door into business concepts and being a business person and being a leader and sharing my knowledge with other people in a way I had never done before. So was a big learning process, and I'm still learning. But that was my first step into the whole business world. I had no business concepts prior to that.
Do you find people are any more receptive to essential oils than they used to be?
That's a really good question. It depends on who you talk to and what who you network with. But it seems like people are moving in that direction, being in control of their own health, taking charge of their health, doing things for themselves, and not giving all of those decisions to a third party. Because there's so much we could do on our own in our own home if we really stop to think and learn about how to do it. I grew up with the model of you go to the doctor every time something's wrong with you. I mean, that was just the way it was. And now I know better. Now I know there's so many more other options out there. I didn't know there was any type of a person outside of a regular medical doctor. I didn't know about chiropractors. I didn't know about body workers. I mean, I knew about none of that until, later in my life. And once I learned, it was like it opened up this whole new world of alternatives that was really exciting. So essential oils are just another alternative and a way of taking care of yourself and your family's health in your own home with your own tools.
Yeah, I grew up that way also. I mean, not only when something was wrong did you go to the doctor. I mean, that was the only thing you did. You went to the doctor.
Yeah.
You did what the doctor told you to.
Yes. You
didn't think about it. You just did it.
Yeah.
How do you think we can encourage people to take more control of their own health?
Just be open to these other things. I think there's a lot more openness to it now. Like I said, when I was growing up, I don't think there was the opportunities and the open-mindedness, at least in my circle, my family circle. And now it seems like Reiki is a big thing now, which, I never even heard of that way back then. I would not have thought about that. A chiropractor. I think they're all more available now. More people know about them. So they can start to tiptoe and try these other options, these other people that maybe they were closed off to in the past. But I really think more people are moving towards those alternatives because we don't want to be told what to do, and I know I started questioning when I would go to doctor's appointments, and I don't know if they all like that or not.
I know that they don't. I have a fisticuff with one of my doctors almost every time I go, and clearly the relationship isn't working, and I need to find somebody else. I don't necessarily do what I'm told without questioning and exploring.
Correct. Me too. Which I think
some doctors like that. I mean, I have a doctor who is very
Yes.
much behind that, but some of them don't like that so much.
Right. And this helped. Just real quick, I would say this helped me when I understood and learned that the way we see the medical model now in our country, it's really not that old. Was it 100, 200 years old tops? Like that's it. Whereas a lot of these other modalities are thousands of years old, and they were working for all that time. Essential oils have been around for thousands of years. They must be working to be around that long. Whereas our modern scientific way of addressing health issues is not really all that old. It's really pretty young. So that helped me wrap my head around it more.
That's really interesting. I never thought of that. You're absolutely right. That's absolutely true. There were all sorts of quote medicine people long time before there were quote MDs. Yeah.
Using plants and what they could find,
one of the things I noticed, I lived in the UK for a while, and very, very deeply established over there is homeopathic medicine. Much more than here, even now. And I think it has been over there for a long time. So I find that interesting that how different societies can develop and take on different ways of seeing illness and health. And that is one of the things I hope at some point we change. I hope we at some point stop talking about our healthcare system and start talking about our sickness system.
Yeah.
Because it's not a healthcare system.
You're right, it's not. And they focus on the illness and the symptoms and, whereas like you said, it sounds like where you were in the UK, there was more focusing on the health and the well-being and everything that's going right with a person, which, that's the way I would want it to be.
Well, and strengthening their system so that it doesn't break down and get sick. Yeah.
Right.
Do you have any not special, but specific oil that you go to most often?
Oh, man. That's a hard one. I said, literally, I must have 20 sitting here. I would say mine is a blend, and it's called On Guard. So that's a blend that doTERRA puts out. Am I allowed to say that?
You can say that.
Okay. And I use it to keep my immune system really boosted. I use it as a hand sanitizer. I use it on my feet every day. I can diffuse it in the wintertime. Like once I feel something coming on, I have a protocol that I follow with that oil plus about 4 or 5 other oils that I take internally. And I just know it's always has worked. It's always worked for me. So On Guard I would never want to go without it.
And you are allowed to say this. What line of essential oils are you involved with?
Well, I already said doTERRA. So that's what I'm all about. That's what I have confidence in. That's who I've been working with for many, many years. And so I cannot speak to any other brand, any other type.
Oh, Teresa, you've done so many things so far in your life, especially after retiring. I mean, you've just kept going and finding new things and starting new things and developing this.
Yeah.
What's next? Do you have any sense of something that is out there that you haven't done yet that is getting closer on the horizon?
Yeah, I have. I've thought about some things, but I haven't really taken action on some things. You know how we have I don't know if you're like this, but I have things floating around in my head and I have to get them on paper and start to figure out how to move forward on them. So yeah, I have lots of things floating in my head, but I love chatting with people on their podcasts. I love that. I had the idea of maybe becoming a speaker in the future so I could talk with bigger groups. So that's something that I want to play around with. Just continuing on my path of maintaining my own health and wellness and really being an example for other women my age and for younger women so that they know that as they become older. It's kind of funny, like people in their 40s will be saying, like, they're old and they're like, oh man, honey, you're just such a baby yet. But as they mature and become wise women, that allowing them to know and to see me as an example, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to embrace aging gracefully and knowing that you can always reinvent yourself at any point in time. It doesn't matter what your age is. If you want to try something, you do it, It's up to us. Don't let anybody else tell us otherwise.
And I love the idea. It's oftentimes hard to hold on to this, but I love the idea if you try something and it really just bombs, you did learn something.
Yes, exactly.
And so, okay, well, that is apparently not what I was supposed to do. What did I learn from that? That's hard to hold on to, right?
It is hard,
especially in the moment. But
yeah, it is hard to hold on to. But yeah, I should be really, really intelligent because I've learned so much from things not going right.
I think we all have at this point.
Yeah. And it's definitely, being at this point in my life, like I'm just so comfortable and just so like, I feel like I don't have to worry about little kids and teenagers, and like the stress of those phases of life are not affecting me. And I can observe it from a distance within my family unit and enjoy it. Like I love being a grandma because I can distance myself if I need to.
You can go home.
Yeah, I can go. I enjoy them when I have them, but okay, when it's time to go, it's time to go. So I love that. I've heard so many other people say they love being a grandparent. And so, yeah, it's fun, man. It is fun being this age. It really is.
That is another example of people with just seeing us wrong, because I've talked to, over the years, I've talked to probably, I don't know, a couple hundred at least women, at least that many, probably more. Oh, I've had over 100 podcasts, so I've had way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll bet you 85 to 90% of the women I've talked to would describe just what you said. That it's a point in life. It's easier. I feel more who I am. I don't have to, I don't spend all my time running after kids or driving teenagers places. It's sort of my time, and I can, it's very freeing. And we don't hear about that. I mean, you talk to women, you hear about it all the time, but that's not out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I love when you said you can be more of who you are. Like at this point in time, we don't have to put up a facade. We don't have to put on makeup, which I never did anyway. But if we don't want to, like there's no reason to be other than what we are. And that's just so much more relaxing and less stressful. We don't have to prove anything to anybody. Yeah, so much less stress, for sure.
I think it's a point in our life where we're not adding on in as much as exploring what's there, what's always been there.
Yes. Love that.
So, Teresa, what 3 things are you doing or have you done that you are proudest of?
Well, I'm definitely proudest of being the mom of 3 daughters. And we have a really good relationships. We enjoy being around each other. They keep coming to visit.
So that's a good sign.
That is a good thing. So I love that. They apparently like having me around. So, so that's one of my proudest accomplishments. I guess, becoming a coach was a big thing for me, which was just a couple years ago. So going down the coaching path to really help other women feel good about themselves. And then this is going to sound maybe weird, but how long has it been now? 15 years or better. I took a massage course when I was teaching, and I got certified to be able to do massage, relaxation massage on people. That was such an accomplishment for me. Like, I had to be in people's space. It was like totally opposite what I was used to. And I had to learn to really communicate and be gentle with people. And it was not something I had done prior to that. And I had to study and learn the parts of the body, and I didn't even know if I'd be able to do that. And so anyway, that was a big thing for me. I was so proud when I finished that course and was able to practice.
That's really fun, Teresa, because when I lived in the UK, I did a massage certification too.
Did you?
And it was 180 degrees from anything I had done in my life. And there was something, and I hadn't even thought of this for years. There was actually something about it that was freeing, because at that point, I don't know about in the UK, but in the US still, massage was sort of, well, it didn't have a good connotation for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We hadn't come to therapeutic massage yet at all. And so it was really an exploration into something that was so foreign.
Yeah.
Anything, and not even so much the quote mechanics of it, but the idea that I would be doing a massage certification.
Yes.
That's really fun.
I hear you. And to be focused on another person and allowing them to be, feel comfortable and welcoming to them. And that's a very vulnerable state to be lying there and having somebody work on you. And so I had to respect that. And so, yeah, it was totally, like you said, 180 degree turn. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was totally opposite what I was used to doing. And it really allowed me to soften and open my heart more and really connect with other people on a level that I had never done before. So It was really cool. Plus, it opened me up to a whole world of all these alternatives.
That's right. Exactly. I was just, when you were saying that, I was just thinking that was true for me. That was true for me also. So, Teresa, we're about on our time, but is there any final thing you would like to say to women who are in their 40s, 50s, going into their 60s or older?
Oh, man. Yeah, just keep on going. It could be the best time of your life. Explore, experiment, have fun. Don't be afraid of it. And you can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. That's probably all the platforms I'm at. A little bit on Pinterest. I'd like to go into that platform a little bit more, but yeah, search for my name. I would love to connect with any woman who feels like they're not enough. They don't understand their value and they want to explore their superpowers. That is so fun for me. I love that. I love helping other women shine a light on their own personal superpowers so they can feel really good about themselves.
Terrific. Okay, so that's our time today. Please join us again. You can find our Prime Spark podcast on every popular outlet. Find out more about Prime Spark at primesparkwomen.com. Thank you so much to my guest, Teresa Lisum. And don't forget, you can find her. I think the best one is to start with is LinkedIn. So it's Teresa, Teresa, Lisum, Lisum on LinkedIn. Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Sarah. This has been such a pleasure. I appreciate it.
And thank you all for being with us. Take care, spread tolerance and love. Bye-bye.
Amen. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to stay updated, you can head over to my website, primesparkwomen.com, and get my free Spark Guide, 7 questions to ignite your spark, to help you discover your own spark. See you in the next episode.